Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. My name is Jack, and today I'm going to be sharing my review of the newest A24 horror movie, Y2K. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, and join me down below in the comments. Have you seen Y2K? If so, what did you think about it? I'd love to hear everything that you have to say about this movie. Now, this weekend, Y2K dropped in theaters. This is the directorial debut of Kyle Mooney. This is also produced by 2000s comedy legend Jonah Hill. And this is a comedy horror flick that sort of plays with an alternate history, where the Y2K bug from the turn of the millennium that everybody thought was going to end the world actually happened, and a bunch of teenagers at a New Year's Eve party have to get through the apocalypse and fight back against the machine uprising. Now, this was a movie I went into very excited. It's been on my radar since March when it premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and I saw the trailer and it absolutely sold me. So I went and saw it this weekend with my dad and brother, and here's what I thought about it, starting with the pros. And much like the trailer's promise, this movie was an awesome blast to the past. You know, between the old internet-inspired aesthetic, the endless creativity behind the presentation of the robot menace, and the grin-inducing charisma from the stellar cast, this was a fun trip to the movies. In this day and age, I feel like there's a lot of movies and TV shows set in the 80s, so it's kind of cool to see some pieces born out of nostalgia for the other in-between generations, especially as this bygone era of nu metal and AOL becomes more and more of a thing of the past. It's cool to see different things like reflect on it and celebrate the pop culture from this time. And what I think one of Y2K's biggest strengths is how it functions just as well as a comedy as it does as a horror film. The humor utilizes pop culture references in a way that doesn't feel forced or tasteless. Like, a lot of times nostalgic films will hit you with a bunch of references and it'll be dumb stuff, where it's just a character nicknaming another character after somebody from a 20-year-old sitcom. Or you'll get things like Kevin Smith's The 430 movie, where they'll just be like, it would be dumb if they made Star Wars TV shows in the future. Get it? Because they made Star Wars TV shows in the future? But all the pop culture references in Y2K feel natural. They benefit the immersion in this time period and flow with the way that these characters talk. The whole movie is sort of a heartfelt celebration of late 90s pop culture. So this all comes from a genuine place of love. And then each and every one of these actors has maximum charisma to emulate these 90s high school stereotypes to peak potential. Jaden Martell as Eli was a character I felt like I really related to, and he had some great development over the course of the film's runtime. I kind of had a bad first impression on Rachel Zegler because of all the weird crap I've heard her say about the new Snow White movie, but in Y2K she definitely gave a solid performance as a likable character. And if Channing Tatum as Gambit in Deadpool and Wolverine is the best scene-stealing cameo performance of 2024, the second best has got to be Fred Durst as Fred Durst in Y2K. It was so awesome when he showed up, and the other characters' reactions to his appearance was just hilarious. Like, if you're gonna throw a celebrity into this crazy 1999 apocalypse, what better choice than Fred Durst? My favorite character in this movie, however, had to be Danny, played by Julian Dennison, an actor I've been a fan of for years due to his work in Deadpool 2 and Hunt for the Wilderpeople. He plays such a funny, awesome, and likable best friend with some really emotionally powerful moments too, and he's just the life of the party. And, like I said before, the horror elements of this movie are just as good, if not better, than the comedic elements. Y2K established as early on that plot armor is not really a thing in this story, and really none of the major characters are safe. So you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, because really any of these characters could die. And the first 10 minutes into the apocalypse is just non-stop carnage candy. Each and every kill is shocking and creative, and each one is gnarlier and wackier than the last. And the story, I also thought, had a great emotional hook to it. Like Matt Bird, the author of Secrets of Story, once wrote that a potential audience member will invest in a great work of fiction because of the concept, but should leave remembering the characters. And that's something I definitely felt when watching Y2K. Even before the robot uprising stuff started, I was totally sold on this movie's characters and the core relationship at the center of its narrative. Like, these performances were so much fun that all the apocalypse stuff was just icing on the cake to me. But like, as great as this movie is, it's definitely not perfect, so now I'm going to talk about some of the mixed elements. And there are some minor writing decisions in the third act that didn't drive the climax home as much as it could have. You know, since plot holes are never fun, especially when they force you to dock points from an otherwise perfect movie. And kinda in general, the story lacks confidence with what it's trying to say. Like, there's a lot of different ideas it taps into, into, but it never fully commits to one of them enough to hit you with a powerful and cohesive message, which it could have done easily. Like, the pieces were all there for the story to go in a variety of different directions with what it was trying to tell the audience, but it never really commits to one general theme. That being said, these were tiny issues that I can move past to really enjoy this film, even though I can acknowledge it's not perfect. In conclusion, Y2K was a movie that I had a blast with. I definitely recommend this to anybody who likes horror movies, old school comedies, A24 films, or even just retro pop culture. I'd say it's an 8.5 out of 10. I gave it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd, and if you're on Letterboxd, you can actually follow me. My username is Jack Higgins, and then in parentheses, The Geek Gossip. You know, if you want to check out any of my long, in-depth reviews, I pour my heart and soul into each and every one of my diary entries, so I'd really appreciate any support you could give me over there on the Boxed. And while I can't promise that Y2K will work for everybody as much as it did for me, I still encourage you to check it out and form your own opinion on it. Have you seen Y2K? If so, what did you think about it? And if you haven't seen it, what are your expectations? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear absolutely everything that you'd have to say about this movie. Once again, that's gonna have to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, YouTube, I will see you on the flip side.